Environmental planning. The data that we get for the case in environmental planning is this data right here. The fact that we have 5 products, each has their own sales potential, variable cost, and revenues. Now, as we move forward with the case, as we've seen in the other ones, the sales potential is the amount of the product that you can sell. And again, it doesn't make any sense to make more product than you can sell, so that it serves as an upper limit on your decisions. Your variable cost is the amount, of course, that it will cost you to produce 1 unit of each item, and your revenue is the amount of money you can make off of 1 unit of each item. So the profit for each item would be the difference between those two. Finally, in writing, we were given the facility hours, the amount of time it takes the factory to produce each product. And in the case, we were given a capacity for the factory, the fact that it has 4,000 hours of operating 4,000 hours of operating capacity a year. So your question was how to optimize production so as to maximize profit. I created my decisions, again, in the same orientation and in the same order as they were presented in the case, so that I could use that to then use some product. My decision cells are here, so we have a number of things. We have facility hours is the only resource, so I have my capacity of 4,000. To figure out my hours used, I multiply my decisions times my facility hours and add them together using some product. We have cost for each item, so I figured out my costs by using my decisions and some product to the variable cost. And I have a revenue, and again, I use some product between those two columns. And finally, the profit is the difference between the two. Now, in Solver, I would again ensure that my decisions were positive decisions, and I would say that the decisions have to be non-fractional, that they have to be integer. Some of you might notice that given that they're talking about tons of product, it is possible potentially to create a fraction of a ton. But just for the sake of simplicity, we'll say that they all have to be integers, they all have to be positive. Also, I compare my production to my sales potential and said that each level of production has to be less than or equal to the corresponding sales potential. So the production of A has to be less than or equal to 2,000, the production of E has to be less than or equal to 600, and so on. My hours used have to be less than or equal to my capacity. My profit is my goal, and I'm seeking to maximize profit.